Cats and water are a combination that is puzzling to many pet owners. Why are cats afraid of water? Or are they not afraid after all? Contrary to popular belief, not all cats shy away from drops and run away at the sight of a bathtub. Moreover, there are many cats who like to swim, watch with interest the stream from the faucet, and even climb into the water themselves. How can this behavior be explained? What does science say about the connection between domestic cats and water? Why is one cat terrified of water while the other is lying quietly in the sink? If you've ever caught your furry friend in the bathtub or wash basin, you've definitely wondered these questions. In this video, we'll look at why cats like or dislike water, what influences their attitude to bathing, and how this behavior is related to ancient instincts. Stay tuned. It will be interesting and unexpected. Since childhood, we have heard, cats do not like water. And the truth is, you only have to turn on the faucet and the fluffy tail disappears from view. But is everything so clear? Why then is the internet full of videos where cats are happy to splash in the tub, play with water, put their paws under the stream, or even swim? What is behind this strange, almost paradoxical behavior? To figure it out, you need to go back, much further than it might seem. The domestic cat that we are used to seeing napping on the windowsill is the result of thousands of years of evolution. Her habits, fears, and preferences are all the legacy of her wild ancestors. And that's where the interesting nuances begin. For example, one of the ancestors of modern cats was Asian leopard cats, wild predators that feel great near reservoirs. It is from them that Bengal cats originated, which often show a clear interest in water. They can jump into the tub themselves, swim, or play in the bowl. These breeds literally have water in their blood. The same goes for the Turkish van cat, known for its ability to swim. This is one of the few breeds that has been calm about bathing since childhood, and even loves it. Why? It's simple. The habitat. If the ancestors lived near lakes, rivers, or in regions with humid climates, they adapted. For such animals, water was a part of survival. There is prey, there is coolness, there is safety, and it is precisely these behavioral features that have been fixed for generations. They have been passed on to us, already in the form of funny, friendly house cats. And now the other side. Most cats, especially mongrel cats, came to us from animals that lived in arid areas, deserts, steppes, and a hot climate, where there was almost no water and where any wetting could become a problem. These animals have developed neither the desire nor the habit of contact with water, and at the level of instinct, wet hair equals discomfort and threat. After all, if the wool is wet, it warms worse, and this can lead to illness. A cat cannot change clothes. It must dry out quickly in order to survive. In addition, the cat is incredibly clean. She licks herself many times a day. And if the wool is wet, it's a whole task. Drying, straightening, licking again. Imagine that you have to dry your hair all day, every time it rains. It's inconvenient, isn't it? So does the cat. But there is something else important. Cats are controllers. They like to understand what's going on and anticipate the environment. And water is chaos. It makes noise, moves, drips, suddenly appears, especially from the shower. And if the animal does not understand what is happening, it will avoid a situation that seems dangerous or strange. That's why even the sound of an open faucet can be alarming. However, this does not mean that everything is settled once and for all. Even cats that don't have water genes may develop an interest in water. If the first encounters with water were gentle and positive, through play, observation, and joint rituals, the cat may not just not be afraid, but even love water. It all depends on your experience, temperament, and your approach. That's why there are cats who come to the bathroom themselves when you take a shower, or they lie down in a dry sink, or they catch drops with their paws like hunters. Perhaps an ancient instinct is awakening in them. Or maybe they just feel safe around you. And then the water no longer scares, but becomes an excuse for playing or socializing. The conclusion is simple. Cats' attitude to water is not black or white. It's a story woven from instincts, environment, genetics, habits, and your involvement. Some cats avoid water out of fear. Others go towards the drops out of curiosity. And all this is absolutely normal. For a cat, water is not just a physical phenomenon. This is a factor affecting her emotional state. Cats love control and stability, and water, noisy, mobile, cold, or too warm, disrupts their familiar environment. It is this feeling of uncertainty that causes anxiety. But some cats have the opposite reaction. They can spend hours watching the dripping water, playing with the drops, or taking a dry bath. For them, water is not stress, but an interest, a way to explore and even relax, especially if it is connected with a familiar ritual. For example, watching the owner take a shower or touching the water in a bowl with his paw. Everything is decided by the first experience. If it was harsh and frightening, the fear will take root for a long time. If water was part of a game or routine, it can become a friend. The temperature of the water also plays a significant role. Most cats do not tolerate cold, but they are quite tolerant of warm water. It is also interesting how cats use water as a way of communication. Someone demands to turn on the faucet. Someone makes noise in the bowl with his paw. And all this is not accidental. This is a signal. Pay attention to me. I'm bored. I'm here. Even water becomes a part of the cat's tongue. Water is not just wet and noisy. It's an emotional background, a ritual, a way of self-expression. And if you approach it correctly, it can become part of a trusting relationship between you and your cat. Water by itself rarely becomes a cat's favorite. But what is connected with it is a completely different story. And we humans play a key role in this story. Remember, how often does your cat sit next to you when you wash your hands? Or does he get into an empty tub as soon as you get out of the shower? Or chasing the drops that drip from the faucet? This is not just a prank. It's observation, curiosity, and an attempt to imitate. Yes, cats copy us, especially if they feel safe. When a cat watches you calmly interact with water every day, an association can work for her. If my man is not afraid, then the water is safe. Moreover, some cats start looking for this contact. They are suitable when you wash your face. They drink from the tap, even if they have a full bowl. They can put their paw under the trickle. All these are little experiments in which the cat tastes your reality. Now let's imagine the opposite situation. The man grabs the cat, takes it to the bathroom, turns on the shower, and with a cry of "need to wash," puts it in the water. It's a shock to the animal. And if he does not have positive water associations, the fear is fixed instantly. Once and for life. Next time, the cat will already run away at the sound of an open faucet. Moreover, this is not a whim. It is a pure defensive reaction. It's just like humans. If you were scared by a dog in childhood, you're unlikely to react calmly to barking in adulthood. But the good news is that attitudes towards water can be changed, especially if the cat is still young or if you approach it with patience. Small steps, without violence and with respect for its borders. Let him play with the water with his paw. Turn on a thin stream. Turn the moment into a game. And the main thing is not to force. Some owners unknowingly make the water interesting. Someone leaves some water in the tub after bathing, and the cat starts looking in there. Someone lets the cat watch the dishes being washed, and someone's pet even jumps into the bathroom to smell the shampoo, and just stays there. Why? Because this place now smells like a man. It smells like security. Sometimes cats perceive the bathroom as their master's territory, especially if you spend a lot of time there. They want to be around, not because they love the water, but because they love you. And if it's also interesting in the bathroom, glare, sounds, new smells, then this place becomes a real game center. Some cats even learn to turn on the faucet with their paw or nose. And they do it for a reason. They like to watch the water drip, shimmer, and run. This is a visually and tactily fascinating process, and there are those who use water strategically. For example, if the owner does not react for a long time, the cat can scoop it out of the bowl with its paw and splash it on the floor, or start hitting the water so that you can hear the sound. This is communication. It's "I'm here, mark me." Water is a tool. Yes, for some cats, it is a way of manipulation. And this shows their intelligence. And of course, do not forget about the cat's stubbornness. Sometimes a cat watches the water for a long time, not daring to come closer. And then he abruptly changes his behavior. And you won't be able to pull it away. The main thing is not to rush. Let her decide for herself when and how to come into contact with this mysterious liquid. Water in a cat's life is like a new world. A world that can either be feared or explored. And the calmer, softer, and clearer the excursions into this world will be, the more likely it is that water will cease to be the enemy. Or maybe it will even become a favorite element of everyday play. As you can see, cats and water are not such irreconcilable enemies as we used to think. It all depends on your character, experience, breed, and even how you behave around water. For one cat, it's panic and stress. For another, it's play, exploration, or a way to be closer to a human. Water can be not only a threat, but also a part of trust, habit, even love. And perhaps your furry friend is just that exceptional cat who enjoys sitting on the edge of the tub, catching drops with his paw, or even climbing into the sink. Or maybe, on the contrary, it disappears without a trace at the sound of a shower. How are things at your place? Is your cat afraid of water or friendly with it? Have you ever had a funny or unexpected story involving bathing, a bathtub, or a faucet? Share it in the comments. It will be interesting to compare the water adventures of our pets